In this video, I'm going to go through chip strategy for you for the rest of the season. I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm not going to talk about individual players or personnel who you should bring in, who shouldn't bring in. I will talk about overall chips that you might have available, what my strategy is, what my thought processes are, what I've done that's been successful so far, and hopefully you'll be able to use some of those to apply to your own team and negotiate your way through the rest of the season. So let's have a look. Hi fantasy managers, thank you for tuning into FPL Team Talk. Today we're going to go through a slightly different chip strategy video. Like I said just now, I'm not going to go into individual players. I'm not going to go into microscopic details and statistical analysis like we have done in other videos. If you're interested in a free hit video, we put one out on Saturday, so go and check that. But this one is going to be really just around about the use of the chips, what I've done so far this season, how I've employed them, what I've done well, how I've improved my rank, and how I've been successful up until now. And hopefully some of that can rub off and you can see the reasons why we're making decisions and how the really meticulous planning is really starting to pay off. So if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're as passionate about FPL as we are and you want to follow our progress throughout the rest of the season, keep in touch with the latest wildcard videos, transfer plans, all of that stuff, then don't forget to subscribe. In the meantime, let's have a look. On screen then I have the fixtures for game week 27. Remember, it's early deadline on Friday. Southampton Norwich kicking off at 8. So deadline used to be an hour before kickoff. It's now an hour and a half. So 6:30, make sure you get those transfers done and your team selection completed. Don't be fooled by anyone who's ever told you they have not missed that deadline. Every FPL manager's got a horror story to tell you about missing the FPL deadline. A couple of years ago I had a mare twice in one season. I was convinced I captained Aguero when he hit a hat-trick at home to someone, only to discover I hadn't. Even now, I'm not sure I was wrong. I think FPL may have been colluding against me. And then I missed the deadline. A few weeks later, disaster. Knew the deadline was coming up. Knew the plans I had to make. Doing a jigsaw with my daughter. 3 minutes too late. Suddenly look at my watch. Hey ho, it all happens. So don't believe anyone who tells you otherwise, guys. We've all had a horrible mistake, horror story to tell. So having a look at my side, I thought one thing I'd do very quickly is just show you I haven't created this channel or saying that I am an absolute expert at FPL. I am not saying that. What I do enjoy and just feel passionate about FPL, and I just want to share some of the content out there, some of the ideas, hopefully give you guys some tips, and take away some of those statistical decisions and research that you have to do by giving it all to you. This is what I wanted to show you really, where I am right now and how I think careful and strategic planning throughout the course of years, looking at chips, knowing what's coming up can just give you an edge. Without being absolute expert FPL, I think by planning ahead, seeing what's around the corner, looking at fixtures, players availability, double game weeks, chips, when to use them, I've simply been able to finish last year inside the top 1%. And then this year, at the moment, having used very few chips, I'm inside the top 1%, even better, 75k. Not saying that's absolutely brilliant, but if you think about your mini leagues, you'd have to be in a mini league with 100 people, and someone's still going to do something pretty special to finish above you. And for me, as much as my overall rank is important, my mini leagues are just as important. I want to win him. I want the kudos of knowing that my decisions have been made, my vindication. There's no greater feeling, as we all know in FPL, of picking a differential or a player that no one else fancies and saying, no, I believe in this is going to happen, and it comes to fruition. So I thought I'd just share that with you. Sometimes, guys, you got to blow your own trumpet because no one's going to do it for you. So we're having a decent season. I feel like I'm in a good position, and it's just purely through the planning and chip strategy. So I wanted to share some of the ways that we're doing that at the moment and seeing if you can tie it up or make use of what we're doing as well. So over the last 3-4 game weeks, we've gone from 199,000, which is okay, up to 75k where we are right now. I'm still in the middle of a week. And it's going well. I've still got a lot of chips left, so we'll go through that in a minute, but I just think it's careful planning. That's all it is. Makes a big difference. So looking back at those game week 27 fixtures, I'm going to go through the chip strategy. Remember, we've all got 2 free hits. Some of us won't have 2 left anymore. First time ever we've had 2 free hits. We all get a wild card on the 1st of January. You cannot have 2 wild cards. So whether you played the last one or not, you'll just end up with 1 on the 1st of Jan. Triple Captain is available and Bench Boost. Bench Boost is probably my least favourite. Difficult one to know when to play and to plan for, because you remember you cannot use 2 chips at the same week. Otherwise, I think we'd all be wildcard and then all be bench boosting at the same time. But difficult one. I wouldn't cry too much if they just omitted that from the game and then brought in a limitless like they did at Euros or something like that. That would be a lot more fun. But we'll look at chip strategy, what mine is, how yours might look as well, and what different options there are. So, my side, looking at this, game week 27, I've not used a free hit and I've not wildcarded yet. I'm currently game week 26, where I am on a triple captain with Salah, and that's going pretty well. But this is my side then. I have planned this side quite meticulously and for quite a few weeks. I've got, 2 Burnley players in now. I've got the 3 Man United players knowing their fixture against Watford. So I've carried them through and they've all got points to me. So you might say I was fortunate with Maguire scoring the other day. Fernandes has picked up some scores there as well. Diaz an assist the other day. But there's always an element of luck, and V-Course has been brilliant. You'd argue that it's not luck, it's it's just good judgment. But they've been really well, and I'm happy that I'm hopeful going to get 11 out for this week, so I don't need to free hit, so I can hold on to that free hit. You might be saying, well, what are you going to do after that? The plan was always to a wild card in game week 28 when those double game week fixtures came out. Absolutely was great. I think I can really attack those now. The other thing as well, when a wild card, value on my side, because I've planned so meticulously and just taken very few hits and tried to limit transfers, I've got a transfer value of about 105.4 million, so I've got quite a bit of money to play with. When I consider that over my mini league rivals, they're all sort of knocking around 103, 102 million mark. That's an extra 3 million. That's really big. That's the difference between a Bowen and a Fernandes or a Gallagher and a Coutinho. But that's a lot of more money. That's a difference between, I suppose a better example would be like a Kufal or a Trent or Kufal Robertson. So big advantage that you can gain, again, just by better transfer strategies, planning ahead, and then not taking those hits to try and adjust later on. So on screen, I put together sort of schematics of all the fixtures. So we know the game week 27 ones. I'm not going to go through too much of that. I think if you don't want to free hit, some people are already wildcarded with the mind of free hitting in 27, and then you'll already set up for the game 28-29. That is absolutely fine. I think that's a perfectly good strategy to have. Then you've got to decide whether you use your final free hit in game week 30 or not. That's a decision I think you just have to make later on when we see the fixtures for the FA Cup. But for me, I'm going to be attacking some of these game week 28, 29 fixtures absolutely full on. So I'm going to wildcard in 28, pretty much dead ending my side. I've got 3 Man United players, I've got a couple of Burnley players, and I just won't be targeting them after this game week. So they all need to come back out, and some of those Liverpool assets will need to come in. So who am I going to be targeting? Arsenal, if people are on wildcarded in game week 26, they'll have hit some of those. Say got some decent fixtures. I think Villa will have as well. Leeds, Liverpool, Newcastle. I haven't ticked Tottenham. I'm just unsure about Tottenham. Their assets are quite expensive. Reguilón's not getting the minutes that you'd like. And defensively, I'm not sure about them either. Son and Kane are the obvious ones, but they are expensive. Watford as well. Depends on, again, maybe King, maybe Dennis, whoever at the moment. He's doing pretty well. Even Foster as a backup goalkeeper is performing. So I haven't absolutely said I'm definitely going to go for those for sure. Obviously, tune in. We'll do a wildcard video for game week 28 because that's when I'm going to be doing mine. But these are the teams I'll definitely be targeting. The likes of Saka, Martinelli as well. That's a real bonus, I think. If you wildcard in 26, Martinelli wouldn't have been available. So he's cheap as well. I like the fact that he could come in as well. Good differential now as well. Likes of Digne, Coutinho, Watkins. Leeds really, Click looked impressive, but I think I have to really just go for Rafinha. That's the only one I could really trust. Liverpool's the obvious assets. Not sure about Jota with his minutes now though, but Salah, Robertson, Trent look really good options. Newcastle, maximum out for such a long time. I don't know if I'll go anywhere else other than Wood, and I'm not sure I'd go there as well. Wolves, Podence looked really impressive. Neto, but I don't think his minutes they've got to crank him up to game fitness time. So then it'll be 8 Nuri or Kilman with their defensive. Jimenez possibly, already touched on Watford. Also, Chelsea's fixtures look brilliant and possibly playing a double game week against Arsenal in game week 28. So I love the idea of when Reece James gets back. Alonso looks like a good option. Rudiger just plays every week, and even Lukaku I do like the look of. They've got some great fixtures coming up. And it just doesn't feel, even though the fixtures don't look great, it just doesn't feel right not having a Manchester City player in there. Defensively, they're so good. So I've got so much money invested in Cancelo and Diaz that quite possibly I would keep hold of one of those. But it's Manchester City. I just don't feel right going without one of them. So triple captain, I've already played mine for the Liverpool game this week with Salah. That's going quite well. The other options, if you haven't played it, is obviously that game week 29. Fixtures don't look as good, but if you wildcarded now, clearly you can't play 2 chips. Away at Arsenal, away at Brighton, looks decent. I will say there might be an opportunity in game week 36 where it's going to be a big double game week. The likes of Chelsea and Liverpool progress. Possibly they'll put their games into 36 where the likes of Chelsea would have a decent double. And we'll have a look at that. And then Chelsea assets, you're looking again, could Reece James be about? Or possibly Ronzo, maybe Lukaku. Lots could change between now and then. So possibly looking at that as well. For me, free hitting in 30 looks like it would be the way to go. If I could avoid free hitting in 30, I will try it. I'll still, even if I free hit in 30, have one for the rest of the season. If I had 2 free hits going into the last 8 games, wow, that would just put me in a great position. But I think if I want those 3 Liverpool players for the Brighton Arsenal double and possibly Tottenham for that double there, Arsenal for their double at home, then I don't see, well, Arsenal wouldn't be a problem because they're playing in 30, but if I have those Liverpool assets, it's going to be tight getting through game week 30. But I think I've just got to take that as it comes. I've got to transfer every week to try and manoeuvre teams around, and we don't know who is going to be in game week 30 and playing until but we will know before the game 28 deadline. So hopefully I can adjust and look at the wild card until then. But I've got to pair up. I don't want to lose target in some of these fixtures to save me free hitting in 30. The points is what I need, and I think going for the rest of the season from 30 to 38 with just 1 free hit is absolutely fine and a decent position to be in. So beyond game week 30, I've got to consider as well who to bring in a long term. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on Leicester. They've got 3 games still to rearrange. We know they won't be before game week 30. So getting in on some of the Leicester assets was great. From a selfish FPL point of view, if they got knocked out of the Europa League, not being FA Cup, that would make my life a lot easier. I'd know which assets were most likely to play. But you wonder if going through that Europa League, whether they'll start to take it more seriously and prioritise it over the league if Europe seems out of their touch. Chelsea would have 2 or 3 games, assuming they get through to the next round of the Cup, FA Cup quarters, then they'd have a game rearranged. Everton in the same boat. Arsenal got 2 and Burnley got 2. They're obviously not in the FA Cup. They play in game week 30, I believe. So, Arsenal players look really appealing longer term as well, knowing they play in game week 30. Other factors, like I said, Chelsea and Norwich, if that game could be postponed, put into game 36, that would give, I think, it's Wolves and Norwich at home in that week. So if you haven't used your triple captain, that could be an opportunity for a player then. Man City, if they progress as well, do you expect them to? They'd have Brighton's game postponed. So they would end up with a double on 36 as well. So plenty of opportunities. But remember, if you've got a free hit, you can't free hit and triple captain. So don't get caught out by that. But I think it's really difficult at the moment to plan beyond game week 30 because we just don't know who's going to have more games to postpone. And it's just things like European competitions, how far is everyone going to go? Rotation, it's very, very difficult to plan beyond that. So at the moment, I just think you've got to take up until beyond game week 30, a little bit, a game at a time. So, important game weeks, 36, we talked about it quite a lot. Biggest double game of the week of the season. If you haven't bench boost, I think that's the ideal time. But again, you have to be thinking about whether you're going to free hit. Are you going to be using your triple captain because you can't use the pair of them? Again, we talked about the triple captaincy. Free hit for me could be an option. Already would have played my triple captain. Bench boost would have gone. I played that earlier in the season when I had a playing bench. So playing a free hit could be a really good option for me later on in the season. I thought I'd just put some strategies that I've learned over the last couple of years, and I've learned off other FPL content providers, listening to the channel. Some of the best players that have ever played FPL have come up with some strategy tips. Don't knee-jerk, so don't make any sudden decisions that you're going to regret. So if a player has had a bad game, had a bad performance, I don't think necessarily knee-jerking him straight out the side is a good idea. I think that's pretty obvious. Be patient. One of the tips from one of the guys who's a sort of Hall of Fame FPL managers, I've forgotten his name, Just basically be patient. If you bring a player in, give him time. If you've committed to bringing him into your side, you've obviously thought about it, you obviously fancy it, you obviously have given him the statistical analysis, and you've got the fixtures. Don't just disregard him. At least give him a sort of run of 3 games, unless of course he's injured and you have to take him out. But be patient. Other thing is, really big one for me, is recency bias. If a player's done something one week but not done something for the previous 40, he doesn't suddenly become a really good option. So be aware of recency bias. It does really take over our thinking in FPL more than anyone else. But it's something I've learnt this season. And one of my catchphrases really is never judge a decision by its outcome. I think that's absolutely crucial. So I hope those are useful, guys. That's it for this one then, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to subscribe. We're here with you for the rest of the season. Click on the bell so you get the latest team selection, transfer plans, wildcard videos. In the meantime, best of luck with the rest of game week 26, and then I shall see you soon.